Good Wednesday morning. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. You found me here at the weather desk as we continue to race on through the month of July. A lot to get to today and some serious weather for Hampton Roads potentially later today, tonight, and tomorrow. We are looking at severe storm threats in addition to a very good chance for some flash flooding over the next 24 to 36 hours. We're also keeping an eye in the tropics. Couple of things. You know, we were so quiet for so long in the Atlantic Basin. Now it's gotten a lot more interesting in the northern Gulf. Not that Bertha is a big problem. Not for most. It's kind of a weaker tropical storm, but still a tropical storm in the northern Gulf impacting areas right along the Gulf Coast. So we'll talk about that. And then there's Fausto, which right now is just out in the east central Pacific. Doesn't seem like much of a threat right now, but it is heading in the general direction of Hawaii. I'll let you know what the latest is on Fausto, how I think it's going to develop, and where it should go beyond just the next 4 or 5 days. We'll look out and talk about how close it should move along and where the models are carrying it in relation to Hawaii. In addition, we've got more wildfire updates. We are getting a break from the smoke in so much of the eastern U.S. and here in the mid-Atlantic. That's been good, but over in Spain, fires continue to be a big problem. So we'll check in on that, and we're going to take a look at a fire not too far from San Francisco in the Bay Area. There's one out there we're watching in California in particular, and then some new technology to help fight fires, and that's some good stuff coming up. We also have this second part of a series we've been showing. Evan Stewart's put together Weather at the Table. You remember before we talked about kind of the origin of barbecue and why the southern U.S. was the perfect place for barbecue to really spring up from this region, those weather and environmental conditions that made it so perfect there. Well, today we're going to take a look at the upper Midwest and specifically the Wisconsin dairyland and how weather impacts things like cheese curds and milk, those dairy products that we love. So stay tuned for more on that. I think that's really interesting. For Hampton Roads, we'll have the week ahead, but I also have the extended outlook. So not just the next, say, 7 days or so. We're going to look out over the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about temperature trends and precip as well. So a lot to get over. We are going to start off, though, talking about the severe weather threat. It's not severe out there now. It is very gray. That is a live look with our Thompson Creek Window Company and the sky view there. What I want to let you know, we have this potential for severe storms. So we're going to be watching this again today, tonight, and again through tomorrow evening. We have the potential for heavy downpours, some severe weather with gusty winds, maybe even an isolated tornado. Chances aren't great, but it is slightly elevated, so you definitely want to stay weather aware. What are the primary concerns? Well, wind gusts in excess of 50 or 60 miles per hour. They're possible. I'll say there's a moderate threat at that. The large hail threat, much lower. Doesn't look like it's going to be a problem here. I'll show you what part of the country could see some larger hail coming up. Isolated tornado, I mentioned that risk. It's not zero, but it's not really great either. I'll say there's a low risk, minor, we'll call it, for a stray tornado. I think the biggest concern's really going to be that heavy rainfall and the potential for flooding and flash flooding. So that's kind of the setup. Now, as we take a look across our entire 13 News Now viewing area, what we typically broadcast from, you see from the eastern shore and the northern neck through the middle peninsula, south side Hampton Roads, and northeast North Carolina, a flood watch is in place. This is going to be through Thursday evening. It started 9 o'clock this morning. It runs through Thursday evening. You look here, and what we have, a line of what weather. And I got to tell you, when I came in early this morning, around 3:30 this morning, there was intense lightning and heavy rain up on the eastern shore. That large area of a lot of intense activity is now offshore. Now, what you're seeing here, this is all just based on ground-based radar here. So you're seeing some of that more intense rainfall from some of these mid-Atlantic radar sites. The reason this just looks like light stuff now offshore is because it's so far away from the radar sites that those sites are just hitting the very tops. There's some intense activity going on down to the ocean surface. We've got a cold front here. There's a look at Bertha, and we're going to spend more time talking about Bertha, but this front is going to sag south, and as it kind of stalls out down to our south, we're looking at a fairly unsettled pattern coming up. As for today and our chances for showers and storms, we've got them out there. You can see that third level here, that third elevated kind of level of 4 for potential flooding. So it's very likely we're going to see some flash flooding, some special advisories and warnings likely late today, tonight, and maybe early tomorrow. For tomorrow, this area is going to shift farther to the south so that it's going to be northeast North Carolina. Now, again, this is just for excessive rainfall. When you consider, again, some of the other things that have been going on, we also have the potential for severe weather. And we've got that risk now, a level 2 or slight risk for Hampton Roads up through the eastern shore, parts of Delaware and Maryland. We also have a slight risk up across Maine. As far as the specific threats, there is at lowest level a 2% chance that a tornado could be found anywhere within 25 miles of a given point anywhere in this area of yellow. So, you know, you're going, okay, what's that mean? Well, it's not a great chance, but an isolated tornado or rotating cell, certainly a possibility here and up into Maine as well. So we're going to be watching for all of that. In addition, again, we don't have to worry about hail here. The larger hail more likely up in Maine. There might be some small hail, but the severe parameter, 1-inch diameter, very unlikely here. Gusty winds, that's the bigger concern. Now, keep in mind, there's cleanup underway for other parts of the country after severe weather ripped through parts of the country. That was yesterday. The National Weather Service will be surveying tornado damage left behind in Kentucky and in New Jersey. In the Gulf, we have Tropical Storm Bertha, and it is on the move ahead of that expected landfall, getting very close to that right now. Hannah Batah has the latest.
From flash flooding in the east to Tropical Storm Bertha churning in the Gulf. Multiple weather threats slamming millions across the country. Powerful storms stretching from Tennessee to upstate New York. This tornado tearing through northern Kentucky, sending debris flying. West Virginia's governor declaring a state of emergency after some areas saw more than half a foot of rain in just a few hours. Emergency crews responding to reports of people trapped in their homes. The storms also spawning at least 2 tornadoes in New Jersey. Fallen trees littering the roads in Stanhope. Large trees falling on homes and crushing cars in New York. North of the city, vehicles completely underwater. People forced to climb onto their cars' roofs to reach higher ground.
Everything was like that. Next thing, like a big wave coming.
This bus rolling over in blinding rain on the New York State Thruway, multiple people injured. The severe weather triggering more than 2,500 flight cancellations and over 7,000 delays, with ground stops issued at major airports from the D.C. area to Boston. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Bertha is moving west along the Gulf Coast, its outer bands bringing high waves and winds to Panama City Beach, Florida. Some areas could be hit with dangerous rip currents and up to 4 feet of storm surge. The storm is expected to make landfall today in southeast Louisiana. New Orleans now under a tropical storm warning. Residents there preparing with sandbags as Bertha closes in. Hannah Batah, ABC News, New York.
So now I want to give you a little more information on Bertha. You see New Orleans here, and you're looking at this color-enhanced satellite image here, and you're thinking, wow, this thing is well to the south of New Orleans. Well, no, not really. The center is actually approaching New Orleans right now. The convection or the deep storminess, these high cloud tops, are well away from the center of circulation. So you can see how things have been moving. A lot of that heaviest rain out over the water of the Gulf here. But once we change over to the low-level radar, you can see again the circulation is actually right up in here. In fact, I'll put the arrows back on so you can see where that circulation is. Some rain bands certainly working into Mobile Bay and parts of the Florida Panhandle, but the center is moving along. Right now, we'll give you the very latest on this. It is moving west at 5 miles per hour, and again, it's about to make landfall with that center of circulation. Now, Winds only 50 miles an hour, gusts to 65. This is not the most powerful tropical storm. And again, that deeper convection, some of the heavier rain, it is down to the south, but it is forecast to move along the Gulf Coast. And there are some concerns. Again, gusty winds, could see isolated tornadoes down there. And I'm really concerned some of this tropical moisture is going to rain out over Texas. You take a look at the rainfall projections along the Gulf Coast. It's really not that dramatic, not associated with Bertha itself. So that's good. And then it's going to be longer before that rainfall really fills in back across Texas. So we'll continue to watch that. Hannah Battah just mentioned up to 4 feet of storm surge potentially around the mouth there at the Delta and back over towards New Orleans. We'll be watching. In most areas, it's probably 1 to 3 feet. So lower amounts where you see that shade in blue. We do have tropical storm warnings out for Pensacola, Mobile, Biloxi, and into New Orleans. That area extends a little farther to the west, and all the way to Galveston and Houston. There are now tropical storm watches, so they'll continue to monitor that. There's Bertha, here's Fausto, and here's Hawaii. I just quickly want to mention Fausto is a hurricane, and it's pretty strong. You can see those winds 85 gusting to 105, moving an anticipated track off to the west-northwest right now at 8 miles per hour. Eventually, it's going to weaken a little bit because these waters are a bit cooler. You see Hawaii here, and you're thinking, is it going to hit it? Well, right now, our global models actually carry it north of Hawaii and continue to kind of weaken it as it moves over some cooler water. We'll see. At this point, Hawaii doesn't look like it's in bad shape, but it's something we'll keep you updated on. All right, we're going to take a short break. Still ahead as wildfires rage out west and overseas. New technology one state is testing to fight fires from above. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Time for a wildfires update, both domestic and abroad. And we're going to take you overseas to Europe because while parts of Europe are catching a little bit of a break right now, look at Madrid, 100 degrees right now. They are still dealing with extreme heat and dangerous conditions. In Spain, firefighters are battling a new active wildfire. This is in the eastern region of the country. Officials say it's already burning more than 3,000 acres. And it is prompting evacuation orders. The country has already seen at least 14 wildfires this year, including the largest, which is burning there near Madrid. All right, back here in the States, firefighters in California are continuing to battle the little fire. It's burning in the city of Pleasanton in Alameda County. Crews yesterday used 3 helicopters and 5 air tankers to drop water and fire retardant on the flames. Dozers and firefighters are also working on the steep terrain on the ground where one firefighter was injured in a CAL FIRE engine rollover. More than 1,000 acres have already burned. All right, so that area, again, Alameda, not far from San Francisco. Now, to help in the wildfire fight, CAL FIRE is looking to add a new tool to their belt. They're working with innovators to test out autonomous drones to support in these wildfire attacks. Madison Wilbur shows us how they work.
Firefighting drones could soon be a tool in the future for CAL FIRE to use. On Wednesday, CAL FIRE, alongside a nonprofit and a team of engineers, field tested fully autonomous drones that are being built to help firefighters.
They go out there with the backpack pumps and the brooms and the shovels, and they can put it out really fast. The Fire Innovation Unit is trying to force multiply that, take some of the weight off their backs.
The drones fly in packs of 5. Each drone weighs around 400 pounds and are built out of carbon fiber. One can carry roughly 20 gallons of water, and when totaled with the others, that can turn into 500 to 1,000 gallons of foam when mixed with firefighting concentrate. It can also reach steep terrain that may be hard to access on foot.
More than any one situation, we want to provide them with a set of tools, be it heavy lift capability, be it fire suppression capability, be it situational awareness capability, be it autonomy and nighttime capabilities. We want to give them a full toolbox so that the professionals can do what they do best.
Stuart Landisberg is the founder of Seneca, the company that's building these drones. He says it's field tests like these that can make all the difference.
One of the things we loved learning when out there in the field is what are the firefighting techniques that folks over their decades of experience know to be the most successful, and how can we apply those to our algorithms, our autonomy software, and make those our default patterns.
And as testing continues for these drones, those at CAL FIRE say this type of research is not just for fun.
It's a demand for the state of California and for the people that live here that we have to move forward. And we're the world's largest fire department, and we need to be the leaders in technology, we feel, as well.
That is so awesome. All right, well, we'll keep an eye to that. Coming up, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk from wheat fields to cheese curds. We're going to take a close look at how weather helps shape Wisconsin's changing farming and the way America eats. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. You know, when you think of Wisconsin, you probably picture cows or cheese or dairy farms. Well, before it became America's dairyland, Wisconsin was wheat country. Meteorologist Evan Stewart shows us how the state's climate helped transform its farms and ultimately the way America eats.
When you think of Wisconsin, you probably think of cows, cheese, and dairy farms. But believe it or not, Wisconsin wasn't always America's dairyland. In the mid-1800s, it was one of the nation's leading producers of wheat. Now, as the soil became exhausted and wheat production moved farther west, farmers needed a new way to make a living. And that answer, it was growing all around them. Wisconsin's cool summers, reliable rainfall, rich soil, and lush pastures created ideal conditions for growing grass, like hay and alfalfa. And those grasses became feed for dairy cattle. Immigrants from Germany, Switzerland, and Scandinavia brought generations of cheese-making experience with them. Together, it was the climate, agriculture, and tradition that transformed Wisconsin into the nation's dairy capital. So the next time you enjoy a slice of cheddar or a scoop of ice cream, remember, it wasn't the cows that first made Wisconsin America's dairyland. It was the grass and the weather that helped it grow.
Love it, Evan. I think everything, it always all comes back to weather. Right now, we're going to take a really quick break. Then we're going to come back to more weather for you. That's a live look outside. Storms are on the way to Hampton Roads. What you need to know coming up in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Here's a look at Norfolk's temperatures over the past week. We were hot, then we were a little cooler, then we were hot, still a little bit hot, then cooler, then hot. And it's just been up and down for the past week. Going forward, we're actually going to see the temperatures dipping a bit. So today we're going to be back in the mid to upper 80s. We'll be, I think, closer to 80 tomorrow and low 80s into Friday and Saturday. We'll get back close to average as we get into Monday and Tuesday, and then a little bit below average. But after that, we need to be ready for more warm weather. You can see the outlook here, 8 to 14 days above normal, certainly for the Southwest and the Western U.S. Here in the Mid-Atlantic on northward, I think it'll be a little bit on the warm side as well. So that's the week ahead. And beyond that, that second week, which carries us all the way into early August. So there you go. All right, as we take a look, I want to remind folks, strong storms and heavy downpours, the issue over the next day and a half to 2 days through Thursday evening, impacts primarily the potential for damaging wind gusts with stronger storms. An isolated tornado can't be ruled out, and flash flooding will be a concern. Our chances for rain, and they're going to be going up around midday and into the early afternoon. A little bit of a lull, and then a lot more rain overnight and early tomorrow. The potential here for excessive rainfall and some flooding or flash flooding. Potentially rain chances go down after that because the area of moisture will settle south into northeast North Carolina. If you're going to the beach today, not a great day to be hanging out there. It is overcast this morning, but chances for showers and storms later today. Where you do get a little bit of sunshine, even a brief amount, that UV index very high because the sun angle is so high. But again, I do expect quite a bit of cloud cover, and the forecast now updating to include the chances for showers as we get into the late morning. So I think we'll see a little bit of that. Storms around midday. Good day to maybe grab a bite to eat if you're in town vacationing, just not a good day to be out on the beach. So get a bite to eat, maybe do a little shopping down at the ocean front. Here's what we have on the water: small craft advisories, the bay and the ocean. And keep in mind, we have the potential for the special marine warnings and severe storms, so we really want folks to be careful. Strong southwest flow, numerous lightning strikes detected there around Virginia Beach, some heavier stuff down to the south, and then off to the north, more rain working across the middle peninsula. We're going to see our chances for showers and storms off and on this afternoon and overnight. Once that heavier rain sets up, this is where we have the potential for kind of a training effect where you have multiple heavy cells over the same areas. This is why our severe weather threat and that potential for the excessive rainfall will be higher late tonight and again tomorrow morning. We'll be watching. Again, that's one of the models. This is the HER model, another one of our high-res models. And you can see, again, similar thinking. That rain comes through, and then we deal with a lot of it continuing into early tomorrow before settling to the south. All right, so stay weather aware over the next couple of days. Things should improve through the weekend and early next week. Hope you had a good time with us. We'll see you next time from the Weather Desk.